So far, we've only got 2 competitive game modes for 4v4, and that's the flag battle and the barrier battle. It's safe to assume there will be more game modes. I mean, there will be more game modes. It's been confirmed. Nino-san said there will be more. This tournament is something separate from flag battle and barrier battle that you've announced.
そうですね。フラッグバトルとかバリアバトルとか、その他他のねルールも含めて、いろんなルールで、そのランキングを上げていっていただくというような遊びになっています。
What those game modes are? We don't know. My name's Globku, and here are some of the ideas I have for Shinobi Striker. And just to clarify, not a crybaby that is demanding all these game modes to be in the game. Nah, it's just a couple of ideas that I've had, and if 1 or 2 of them make it to the final game, I'll be happy. I don't need more than that. So first up, Team Deathmatch. Remove all the objectives and just let us fight each other. Each kill counts as 1 point. Whoever has the most points at the end wins. Simple. That would remove all the fluff from barrier battle or flag battle, because all we want to do is fight each other, not use clever tricks to run around the opponent and then grab the flag and run away from the opponent with the flag. No, we want to use our jutsu to completely obliterate the enemy ninjas. That's what we want to do, and Team Deathmatch would be perfect for that, because the objective is precisely eliminating the opponent. Plus, this game is already built as a 4v4 game, so every character type would matter here, and team compositions would be of extreme importance. And I can already see some abilities becoming a bit more oblivious, like the Kirin or the Kamui, which are great when you use them when someone's trying to capture an objective and standing still, but the objective here is defeating the enemy team, and you'll be probably moving around a lot, and I'm sure those abilities will miss 90% of the time. But this game mode would also bring rise to some other abilities and other team coordination strategies, so as boring as bare bones as this game mode might sound, I think thanks to the nature of this game, it would give rise to some very interesting strategies. Idea number 2, search and destroy. This one wasn't originally my idea, someone tweeted at me. I tried finding the original tweet, I couldn't, so I'm sorry. This person also tweeted at other YouTubers a while back, and some YouTubers picked up the idea, made videos about it, and the community seems to have liked the idea quite a bit. So what is it? Search and destroy game modes usually have each player on your team only have 1 life, so they have sort of a permadeath state. When they die, they're gone for good, they don't respawn. And this would definitely shake things up in the meta. Some abilities that don't seem that useful in flag battle would now be of extreme importance for search and destroy. Stuff like the Byakugan, which is just a scouting ability, or the mitotic regeneration, which is basically a resurrection jutsu. Resurrecting someone that cannot respawn is way more important than resurrecting someone who will spawn in 10 seconds. So these abilities would become an extremely big deal. Knowing where your opponents are so you can go there and kill them and bring back your allies back from the dead would be extremely valuable in such a game mode. The one thing I don't like about this idea is that the current maps don't really seem to be tailored for this type of gameplay. The current maps are very open and it's easy to see opponents from a distance, so the Byakugan would still kind of be useless. So for this to really work, they would need a different playlist of maps with a lot more hiding spots than the current ones currently have. Idea number 3, control points. Get 3 control points on the map and each team has to fight over control of the 3 at the same time. Many games have done this in the past. The most recent one I've played is probably Destiny 2, and I always found strategies implemented in these game modes very interesting. Even in a game like Destiny, where there are different classes, but they are not as different as they seem to be in Shinobi Striker. And you still have to constantly coordinate with your team, deciding to group up and take up a point at each time, or dividing and conquering several points at the same time, but then you run the risk of being overrun by the enemy team if they are all clumped up together. Even the decision of protecting 2 points that you have already captured, or trying to go for the 3rd one, which is sometimes risky but can trigger a power play. There's all these different strategies, even in Destiny 2, where you're mainly a dude with a gun no matter which class you play. In Shinobi Striker, you'd have completely different abilities to coordinate. How many healers do you bring to this thing? How many attack types? How many range types? It would be a very, very big deal. So I think control points works great for Shinobi Striker. I would very much love to see that. Number 4, Escort the Payload. Okay, this is not going to be a fan favorite, especially because even on Overwatch, when people play that game mode, no one stands on the goddamn payload. And I get it, it's like a long escort mission where the payload moves extremely slowly, so it sounds boring, but I can't ignore the hours of fun that I've had playing this game mode in many different games like Team Fortress 2, Doom, and a lot more. It's like a capture point that is constantly on the move, and that takes the fight to different points in the map, which change completely the way you play. Plus, every time you die in Shinobi Striker, you can actually change your character's loadout, so if you're doing well on the first choke point, for example, but you're dying on the second one, you can change your loadout along with your team and adapt. And of course, you can expect the enemy team to do exactly the same. So overall, I think this is a tried and true game mode that has worked in the past, and I think it could work great on Shinobi Striker. Idea number 5, Battlegrounds. So 100 ninjas parachute off a plane into an island and then they kill each other until only one survives. If you guys are familiar with PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, it's pretty much the same idea but applied to Shinobi Striker. It's a battle royale if you've ever watched the movie. There's a circle in this big island that gets smaller every time, forcing players closer together and killing each other until only one survives. Now the thing about Battlegrounds is that when you drop in, you don't have anything equipped and you have to scavenge houses for weapons or equipment. How would that work in Shinobi Striker? I've had a couple of ideas. So when you drop down, you don't have a weapon, you don't have a ranged weapon, you don't have jutsu even. And you have to scour the place looking for ninja scrolls, which when you read them, you unlock a random ability. Now this could be a good ability and you decide to keep it, or it could be an ability that maybe you're not very good at using, or maybe it's not something you like, so you keep searching for another scroll to replace that ability. Thing is, while you do that, you have to make do with the ability you found. And the same thing goes for weapons. You have to randomly find them inside houses or trees or whatever the map ends up looking like. I really like the sound of this idea. It will never happen, will it? Idea number 6, boss mode. Take the boss battles that exist in the sub-mode missions and make the boss player controlled. This would be a 4v1 game mode where 4 players take their custom avatars or maybe even the original characters and fight against the boss. So far the bosses in the missions seem extremely easy to defeat. Their patterns and behaviors seem very predictable, but what if you put a player in charge of the boss? It will require a lot more coordination from the team of 4 ninjas trying to defeat it, and it would give the player controlling the boss something unique and new to do once in a while, with fresh and powerful abilities that wouldn't really fit in the other game modes. And who doesn't want to be in control of a Susanoo or the Ninetales? I mean, everyone wants to do that. And my final idea, number 7, the Chuunin Exam. So this is similar to my Battlegrounds idea, where you have a bunch of ninjas inside a big space, but this time you don't grab random abilities from the ground or the trees or the houses. You actually go in with your created character. And you play as a team instead of by yourself, just like Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura played in the Chuunin Exam. Well, they didn't play, they fought for their own survival, but you get my point. Each team has a scroll and they need to grab another scroll from another team in order to succeed. Then they need to add to an exit with both scrolls to win the match. So this would obviously need to take place in a very large map with several different teams. They can be teams of 3 or even 4 players, that's okay. And just like the anime, this would give rise to different strategies. Do you search for an enemy team right off the bat? Do you find a place where you can hunker down and defend yourself? Do you try to ally yourself with another team to take down other players? Or maybe you just camp at the exit and defeat the teams that already have both scrolls and try to defeat them for your own victory. This game mode idea comes from Naruto, the anime itself, and the manga, so I think it makes perfect sense for it to be in Shinobi Striker. The question is, will they have battles that feature more than 2 teams? Is the game prepared to handle that? Is it even balanced for that? That's the big question here. Those were my ideas. Now, what I absolutely do not want is all of them to make it into the game, because that is too much, and that would be too many game modes, splitting the community up, so half of those game modes would be dead in a week because there's no player base to support them. Especially the Battlegrounds idea. As good as an idea as that sounds, you need 100 players for a single match, and that's a lot. Unless they do it like Blizzard does with Overwatch and Heroes of the Storm, where you hit quick play and it chooses the game mode for you, and that's what allows those games to have as many game modes as they do, because all the players are being pulled from the same player pool. But those are my ideas. I would love to hear yours. Now, what game modes would you like to see in Shinobi Striker? A 1v1 maybe? Free-for-all? Deathmatch? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're already thinking about the character that you will create in Shinobi Striker, I can give you a hand with that. Check out this video with all the jutsu for the attack type characters. If you're in the mood for something else, there's also this video right here, but as always, thank you very much for watching. My name's Globku, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!